It's working well again. I think I broke my webcam. Yep. Yep, I can safely say I have successfully broken my webcam. Let's go to here. Oh, the joys. I walk away from my computer and then I come back to it and it doesn't work properly. I know, I've broken my webcam very successfully. Afternoon, everyone. I'll be there in a second. Oh, I'm just dealing with the fact that my camera's decided that it doesn't want to work. Joy of joys. It's afternoon here. Let's switch over to that one a second. And then we'll switch back to that one. And there we go. Ta-da! That's better. When all else fails, unplug it and plug it back in again. I would do, but the local on-site companies here don't do residential call-outs anymore. They took after me. Good afternoon. Happy Easter Sunday. Hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, it's. I think it's a bit far for you to come to do a local call out over here, Jason. Although saying that, I did have a request from someone if I'd be interested to fly down to Marrakesh in Morocco to do an install. And as much as I'd love to, I haven't got the time at the moment. That would be a fun one. I've never been to Morocco, and that would be quite a fun one, I think, at the moment. But yes, much fun. How are we? I hope everyone is having a good weekend. Yeah. I'm guessing you're wanting to install Sophos XG on your Pt13 box, Jason, and it comes in UEFI. Welcome, Richard. I think I've worked out that it's nice and warm up here now, and I probably am going to need a bigger extractor fan. Just to upset you, it's Easter, and I have a G5 Flex in my hand. Yeah, it's a question that has actually been asked of not Ubiquiti, of Sophos before, because all the Sophos boxes actually do support UEFI, but they all come out in obviously compatibility mode, technically in MBR mode, and as of yet, I don't think the underlying OS for obviously the XGE XGS system has the bootloader support for it. Now, whether they're going to change that, don't know. I need to get hold of an XGS to play with anyway, because you can't load the home edition on even if you do the hard disk swap. So I'm guessing they've got the installer prompting for something. Must be doing something to either an entry in the BIOS somewhere, and it's looking at that and finding it, and then coming up with you can't install on this hardware, whereas previously it used to give you the warning, but then it would go from there. Might need to turn my microphone down a little bit. I'm peaking red a bit too high. Let's just wind that down a little bit there. I've got some 116s, and but they're sat downstairs. But the problem is I can't open them up because they're not mine; they're a client's. Yeah, it's frustrating. I say I'd like to be able to actually play with them and load home onto them just to see, because I want to see a comparative difference. I'm wondering if it's because they've got their ASIC tucked in there and they don't have the ability maybe to turn it off on the software version yet. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm just trying to think what exciting and entertaining things have gone on. It's been a lovely short week. I've actually been on site dealing with a rather large Ubiquiti and Unified Network and Unified Protect install, where we've been trying to get cameras up on poles and things like that, only to find that all the conduit and underground ducting that was put in place, someone thought it'd be fun to drive a fence pole through one of the main underground conduits and then concrete it in. So we had to stop doing that, which was a bit frustrating. But yeah, lots of cameras looking at all sorts of angles on a property, and well, not a property, a big commercial vehicle dealer. It has been quite fun. But yeah, we've had these for a bit. See, it's got the red sticker on it. This is an EA one, but it's exactly the same. People have asked a few questions on these, so I'll get onto that in a minute. And oh yeah, there we go. Just to really please you, Jason, look, if you can, I don't know, you probably can't read that, but there we go. See, look, I found some D-Link things. They came out of a dead D-Link NAS, and I didn't even know D-Link did NASes until this one came in. I just need to have a look at what's on them, purely and simply to destroy them, but got to confirm that there's no business related data on them. Everyone wants a unified dream wall now, except the people who really can't grasp what their actual use case for them is, and it's kind of a bit weird. There's still a lot of I don't know, there's this weird animosity to them because people are trying to portray that, well, it doesn't fit my use case, so why does it fit yours? It shouldn't fit yours. I'm still waiting for them to announce the Dreamwall Pro, because I think that overall will be the one to go for. It's going to be a bit bigger, obviously. We did have a quick look at it last weekend. Just having a quick look, see if anything new has cropped up on that. Don't know if we've got it over here. Much less. Let's have a look. Have they launched it? No. See, in Europe, we still haven't got the Dreamwall out of EA, technically, even though it's out of EA over on the US store. They've added another store. Yeah, as much as I can see the use case for the Dream Wall, and it appears they did make a few changes. Some of the changes are just purely and simply cost based. Let me flick over. So Cody pointed this one out to me. Yeah, this is exactly it. It's like, it doesn't work how I think it should work, therefore it's just wrong. Hey ho. Right, let's go over to that. So one of the things that Cody pointed out to me actually last week was that the proper Dreamwall, obviously they're still pushing this picture out of the Dreamwall Pro, yet no one's seen it. So number one, it comes with a pre-installed 512 gig SD card, which is useful, but I mean, it saves you £20-30, not a lot. But the other one is that there it is. So the power supply that comes with the released Dreamwall, it only comes with one. It doesn't come with both bays populated, and I thought that's a bit odd because they don't currently sell the Dreamwall power supplies standalone, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen them anywhere unless they've got them in over in the US. Let's just have a quick look, shall we? Don't remember seeing them. So you've got the those units there are the power supplies for the hot swappable switches. Oh, the key fobs are out of EA. That didn't take long. We don't really need a UK store, so to speak. Yeah, they've dropped them out of EA. That didn't take long. That's probably one of the quickest things to actually make it out of early access into EA. But the site we were at this week, we were actually doing a Unify Access install as well. And one of the things that I hadn't tested, because we haven't done that many access installs yet, was whether you could pair up. So I've got my own fob for my own system here for testing, but you cannot pair those fobs to multiple systems. Same with the Ubiquity cards, but something like a YubiKey, you can. So third-party stuff that's secure, you can pair with multiple systems, but that you can't. And I thought that was a bit silly, because the whole idea, I mean, as Ubiquity have it at the moment, you can't easily, without using UID, you can't have multiple systems all linked up. You have to pay for that privilege, effectively. But at the same time, you can't easily layer 3 adopt Unify Access. You have to get Unify Access stuff to work across a site-to-site link, you have to adopt it all on the main site and then move it out. I've got an Access hub here. So that Access hub is actually talking to a controller that's 200 miles away. And it does work okay, it works fine. But it's frustrating because I can't just bring that hub here and adopt it or set inform it. It's got half the commands in it. You can SSH into it, but you can't actually do a lot of the stuff with it, which is a bit frustrating. So yeah, if you're using the key fob and the access card, both of those are a bit frustrating. Might have to do a you can set in. Yeah, this is it. We set inform APs or DNS adopt everything access points all the time. Unify Access, however, you can't. Even you can type the command in and everything. It's all there. It just will not look at a remote controller. It's silly. Unless they're going to change that. Hopefully they will, because a lot of the sites we look after only need like a couple of access hubs on sites just to look after things like server room doors. I'd like all the server room doors at certain sites to have access on them, just because it means it's one of those things. It's like the cameras. It's like these. If you want to adopt these over a layer 3 link, you can actually go on to the camera, tell it where to look for the controller. You can't do that with Ubiquity or Unify Access at the moment. That may change, hopefully it will, but we'll see. Let's just log in. It's alright, see if there's anything new over that side of the pond. Don't think there is anything that's come out in the last couple of days that's worth looking at. No, US Power Pro, PON transceiver. Yes, that's the thing. That's what they want to do. They want you to have effectively either Dream Machines or Cloud Keys on every site that all then talk back via UID, which is fine. But you're looking at a minimum then you've got to put a Cloud Key Gen 2 on every site, which is still a couple of £100 that you don't really need to spend, when like one Cloud Key Gen 2 will run like 30 doors, no problem. So it's just one of those frustrations that I can understand why they're doing it. They're doing it obviously to protect a bit of this market, but then there's certain features that are still missing out of the Access Hub, or they need to produce a module effectively. Things like the Access Hub doesn't have there's no simultaneous way to link all of them into, say, a fire alarm. So if you wanted to link your door access into your fire protection system, or fire detection system, you actually have to have a trigger running to every single Access Hub, which is no good. Because some of the Access Hubs could be hundreds and hundreds of meters away from the fire alarm. So what they need is effectively a module that can sit by the fire alarm that triggers an instant release, but they haven't done that yet. It may come. It's that sort of thing. It's kind of like why. I mean, I'm amazed that the elevator kit has sold out, but that's going to be. I mean, that's still in early access, and they probably haven't produced many of them. So, and again, something like that would need some form of a system that must link into, say, fire alarm. So I can't imagine them being allowed to install a elevator control system that does not have a link into the fire alarm of the building, because obviously the last thing you're going to want is the elevator misbehaving when there's a fire because it's not been told that the fire alarm's going off. But yes, anyway, we shall see where Ubiquiti goes with it. It's one of our sort of it's a site we are actually able to test a lot of things on, which has been quite nice. It's one of the bigger sort of commercial sites that we've done. Oh no, it's a commercial site, non-warehouse style sites we've done. But yes, interesting way to sort of test a few sort of theories out with some of the kit. But what we're trying to do is line things up for future replaceability is the main thing. I think all the cameras, bar the SLR, yeah, and the G5 Pro, that won't take long, are already out. There's nothing new been announced there, so that's fine. Don't think there's anything fun announced Sophos wise, really. Mainly the main thing with Sophos was they corrected their licensing faux pas, but that's more to do with base licensing on currently supported hardware than anything else. Couple of things, I think, just consult. This was one that got sent around earlier. Is you can there's a exploit, as it were, in certain chipsets that don't allow you to access data, but do allow a degree of snooping on packets using ICMP. But again, it's one of those ones where you have to have access to the network already to then get access to more of the network. So it's always one of those sort of, it's like the compromises on PCs where they say, well, if you're logged in as root, or if you've got local admin, you can do this. It's like, well, yeah, well done. So anyway, we might as well get started with let me engage. Right, this might work. Whee! There we go. Is that you or is that you? No, that's not working. Come on. Webcam. My webcams are all playing up today. That's that one. There we go. Ooh, hands. Right. Slide you out of the way. Because people were asking quite a few questions on the good old... Yeah, put you in the right area. There we go. G5 Flex. This one is had its lid opened. I don't think we've had it out of the box yet, but this is obviously the replacement for this. This is a dead G3 Flex, but I've got it here because people were asking what's the difference in terms of like size. Does the do all the adapters fit, etc. So this is the G5 Flex from Ubiquiti. Yeah, this one has been out. That's fine. And as you can see from here, it is visually, with the addition of, basically they've put G5 and a U on the front, around the back, EA sample, pretty much 99.9% identical. Does all the normal stuff that these do. It's got exactly the same style mounts. No real difference. They're all the same as a G3, same as a Flex HD, same as a U6 mesh. Don't really need any of that. Don't need that anymore. Let's grab a cable and plug you in. So again, white light on the front, very much identical in every way to a G3. So the only difference now between the G3 and the G5 is, other than this giving a better picture, is this is a bit cheaper, but size wise it's all the same. Just go back over here a second, wait for it to be picked up on my NVR. Go alongside the G5 Bullet. There it is. Add that in. Wait for it to appear. There it is. Adopt. Adopting. Let it update itself. Go through all the normal procedure. Oh look, there's me. Sit it over there out the way and let it look at things. There's not much difference in terms of its ability to be set up in exactly the same way. We'll just let it go through and update itself. It's pretty much just a like-for-like replacement for people who have got Flexes already installed but want the ability to use things like Smart Detect and have just a bit better picture quality. That's the main difference, obviously, compared to these. The actual Flexes, the only problem we've actually had with the G3 Flexes is it seems that over time we do seem to be getting microphones failing on these a lot. They just start to hiss. Now, weirdly, it doesn't impact all of them. We've got these sat, I've got some of these sat on the top of hillsides here, down in sunny Cornwall, and they're absolutely fine. Yet we've got units that are sat right next to it that have gone wrong, and there's no difference in the location. They're both, some of them are out of the same, like, usually we buy these in sets of 3, so they come out the same 3-pack. It just seems to be something that goes wrong with them, but a lot of the time we're not actually using these for the microphones anyway. A lot of the time microphones are turned off because they're so far out the way that you can't actually hear anything on them anyway. Just see if that's behaving. Switch back over to there. So, I mean, you can see here we've got that's a G5 bullet, which is that one up there. Hello. And that's a G5 flex down there. Hello. And actually, the quality difference between the two, stick it in high quality mode a minute, is pretty good. Obviously, flickering is from my lights, and I can't ever get them to stop no matter what I use. That's already in high quality. So you can get a good view angle of, or good and respective comparison. If I hold that one up there. You put it about there. Yeah, they got roughly the same field of view. G5 bullet's a bit crisper in its picture overall, but that's fine. Outdoor cover wise, this is the Pro mount, and this is the, obviously, so you can see this one's come off site because it's absolutely filthy, but it's useful for demonstrating with. So again, these we've got mounted outside as they are. I mean, they're not waterproof per se, but they are proving to be pretty tough little cameras. I mean, these when these were new over here, these were about £60. They were very cheap cameras for what they were, and with them just mounted on poles like that, as long as they're mounted obviously the right way up, the water doesn't seem to get into them at all. This one was mounted upside down. I think it was this one. This one was mounted upside down, but under a soffit. And unfortunately, what we didn't know at the time was the actual soffit had a crack in it, and it just dribbled water straight into it, which didn't help. But the Pro mount, actually, these are actually pretty, sort of, for what they cost, they're pretty cheap, and they make give the camera a bit more flexibility. So if we slide that under there, I'm going to need to turn it off for a second, because the question was asked, do they fit in the Pro mounts? And the answer to that is yes, they do. So the G3 Pro mount does fit quite neatly on there we go. So that's a G5 and a G3 Pro mount, and it's exactly the same. Obviously, it still gives you the same movability, but with a much better lens. So yeah, if you've already got them and you just want a good quality upgrade, it's an upgrade from, I think the G3 is a 1080p, and the G5 is, yeah, it's 2K. So I know it's sold out. It's always sold out. So yeah, 2K, 5 megapixel CMOS, and the G3 I think is, yeah, 1080. So yes, I know it's sold out. So 1080, and they really like to hide everything out of the way. 25 FPS. I think they're two. Yeah. So this is a 2 megapixel sensor in that. Greetings and welcome. So let's just pop you apart again. Da-da-da. Come on, get out. There we go. Always remember these were well clipped together. Poke you through there. Poke you in there. Put it back together with a cable and powered up, like so. Again, the hole for the power light is in exactly the same place. Yeah, as I say, we're just going through. One of the questions that someone had asked me online was obviously if you've got G3 flexes already, and a lot of people have got them mounted in the Pro mounts, is do the G5s fit? And it's like, yes, they're exactly the same dimensions. I mean, they fit in exactly the same way, but you just get a better picture. And that was one of the things. We have got some of these left. Yeah, we've got a couple of these left brand new that we're going to be sort of running them down out of stock. But from now on, we will be switching over. Purely and simply, the picture quality we find is obviously better. And the actual field of view and the smart detect as well. So I don't think I've got anything I can easily. Let's just sit in over there for the minute. Use some prop him up on some edge routers, that'll do. Right, let's flip back to there, get that out of the way in a minute. So yes, falling over. No, it's fine. The only thing that we did notice difference between the G3 flexes and the G5s, I think HDR's on it, is you haven't got the option for lens distortion correction. So there is a slight curvature. You can see it in there. So there is a bit of a curve to the image. I don't think I've got... Hold on. Let me just see if I've got a G3 out of this box somewhere. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. No, I haven't. I haven't got a live G3 anywhere. All the ones I've got unboxed at the moment are dead. But again, it's just a useful sort of comparison. Or I mean, we'd say we've compared these on a long sort of open field shot, and the difference is, I mean, it's night and day. The picture quality on the G5 is a significant jump up. So what I will probably end up doing is mounting this G5 to replace one of my G3s that's on my house, and just see how it behaves. But we've had one of these, might have been this one, sat in a bar for a while, just looking over a bar, and it's been absolutely fine internally. It's the external nighttime imagery that will get be interesting to see the difference. That's all. I might even mount it side by side with one. But the nice thing with them is they're just so, I mean, even the G3s, they're just so neat and compact. It's one of the big things that a lot of the other providers don't actually have, is something that, I mean, if you spray painted that black, turned the lights off, you wouldn't pay any attention to it. It's just very, very compact and cute. That's interesting. Let's go put that on auto. Why was that on no infrared? Interesting. In fact, let's turn the lights off. Let's see what... that's all fine. That's fine. No. It's gone dark. Let's see, and let it switch over. And let's just eliminate some of the other infrared a minute. It's not an accurate thing because obviously I've got my screens on here. But again, it's not bad. It's able to show a reasonable representation. I don't know if it gets any brighter at all because I've got two cameras here. It shows up all right. See me walking over, turn the light on and flick. There we go, back into colour. So, G5 Flex. It's a G3 Flex, but better is the simple. This is the only sort of simple description for it, really. It's that sort of thing. It's like the G3 Flex, but better and a bit more expensive. I think that's the summary. I mean, that literally, when I get round to it, I'll probably do a 60-second review and stick that up on as a short and on TikTok. It's just literally, this is just an improvement. It's kind of like the kind of like the G5 Bullet is over the G3. It's just a better version of that camera. It's not a pro camera with 4K. It's just a good middle of the range general workhorse. We've just installed a lot of 4K G4 Pros on site for doing all sorts of stuff. And again, they're good cameras. We'll get hold of a G5 Pro as and when we need one, and I'll do a sort of hands-on approach to one of them, just because they're kind of an alternative too. But I class the G5 range as a replacement for the G3 range. That's my opinion as it stands on the whole range. I'm not sure what the point of the G4 dome and the G5 dome being the same price is, unless they're having problems sourcing the G4 dome or some componentry in the G4 dome. I mean, that's the only thing I can surmise, is that they can't get hold of these, so they've revised it, and that's where the G5 is. Because I'm not sure I haven't looked. We've got a few G4 domes out and about. So it's a 4 megapixel sensor at, hold on a minute, 4 megapixel, 5 megapixel, make your mind up, at 24 FPS. As against the G5, which is a 5 megapixel, but it's 30 FPS and it's a 2K. So it's kind of the same camera, just with a slightly better optics, maybe. That might be why the price is the same. We shall see. Yeah, there's not much else sort of been going on. It's been quite a nice, quiet-ish quiet-ish week, I suppose. No one's no one's blown anything up this week. Oh, that's got stuck. Preparing update. Refresh that a minute. Oh well, that's my on. Oh, I'm on early access. That's probably why. Oh well, it's working. It's doing its job. There's still not been any. I mean, I've got the AI theta that I've got it in boxed up at the moment because I took it with me to site just in case it was going to be useful there. But that's no good. I'm trying to think. There's not a lot else been going on here. It's most of it has just been work busyness, I think. I tidied up a bit more up here. Was planning on getting the that thing, which is a 710, just up on the bench to burn some power with. Don't know of anything much else that's been going on. Is there anything anyone else has been up to? Or is noticed, I should say. Even I think from an IT side, everything has been fairly quiet, other than a few things. It's been a fairly quiet couple of weeks. I say quiet. I suppose it's been more a case of actually there's been stuff going on, but I think everyone's bored of it. Everyone's bored of Twitter. Everyone's bored of the drama with TikTok. Everyone's bored of. I suppose everyone's bored, or is just so used to having to deal with it now. It's just become background noise. I think that's some of the problem nowadays. Everything becomes background noise so quickly. Switch back to there. Even I haven't got anything new and entertaining that's come my way. I was promised a couple of APs from Netgear. They haven't materialised, annoyingly. Aruba have failed miserably to collect their test kit. I've still got that boxed up. I don't know if anyone saw Chris Titus's update on the Tiny 11 thing. It was something that a few of us were basically stood back and said avoid it, whilst a lot of people were jumping up and down on installing Tiny 11 on everything and anything, only to find out that yes, the file they were using to create the images for 11, even if you brought your own, was not the official disk creation tool. It wasn't the genuine Microsoft one. It had been obviously tampered with in some way. And surprise, surprise, it's been picked up on, and it's like, well, this is why we don't use those things in the real world. This is why in business you use a vanilla image that's as vanilla as possible, so you don't, and then you modify on top of that using the correct tools, not rip the guts out of it. So, yeah, that was quite an interesting one to see rematerialize, because I thought all the drama over things like Tiny 11 and I think is it Apollo OS? Well, no, Atlas OS, which is a bastardized version of Windows that they shouldn't be packaging up with anything. Just having a quick. Let's just have a quick look and see if there's any other interesting drama that has occurred anywhere over the last day, because I've been away from my machine for a couple of days. Gonna leverage. Let's leverage Sophos's naked security. The garage doors that anyone can open. I hope none of you have got any of these. Yeah, was it Nex? Nex garage doors have a security hole that cannot be patched. Which allows them to basically, if you've got an automated garage door controlled by one of these, there you go, hard-coded credentials into them. So yeah, there's easy ways to hack your garage door if it's an automatic garage door. Yeah, it won't be long, I expect, before someone comes up with a way to open them with a flipper zero, just standing nearby, and it sounds like it's that sort of thing. Hard-coded credentials, zero factor authentication. Yeah, no protection against replays. So, it wouldn't surprise me. It genuinely would not surprise me. It's that sort of thing, though. It's as much as I'm in favour of a certain level of smart devices, the whole thing where you see all the people who are like, oh yes, all the real high, all the technologically and the tech savvy people who have no automation at home, it's completely the opposite. We have automation, but we have automation that we know that if we don't need it, or if there's a problem with it, we can replace it, or we can turn it off. The other one that they popped up with was another Wi-Fi. Where is it? Is the sleepy bypass in Wi-Fi, which, again, this sort of thing is quite interesting. It's one of those. It's one of those exploits that, while has very little impact and would have very little impact, will get blown out of all proportion once it gets picked up on by a few people. It's a sleepy bypass, which basically means that they can pull tiny amounts of data when a wireless device goes to sleep, and there's still packet data, or there's still packets of data being sent to it. If it doesn't, it gets put basically into a buffer, unencrypted, and they found a way to dump the buffer, basically. So it's not going to be storing, I mean, you've got to think an access point hasn't got a huge buffer to store stuff in it, so it's not going to be holding significant quantities of data. But at the same time, it's not probably going to be the easiest thing to exploit, because you've got to have a device going to sleep and waking up again. And it doesn't seem to impact a lot of APs. But it's another thing just that is floating around. There's been nothing to jump up and down over, I think, is the basics. Normal Apple stuff. And, oh look, JavaScript. Yeah, not a surprise. It's just sort of, I suppose, until something new comes along from any of the big manufacturers. I think, as I said, I think I covered it last week, I think the next big thing is just going to be the wait for things like Wi-Fi 7 to appear and that sort of thing. I'm still putting pieces together for my speed testing thing. The other thing, what was I going to be? What did I want to test? I have got, obviously, I've got sat. Where have we gone? No, you. I mean, I've got sat here a ginormous. Well, it's ginormous compared to the other one. Let the camera fall over a second. Put it over there. I mean, that's the biggest MikroTik router I've had until now. I've got that thing in, which again, it's an older one. It's been pulled off a site, but as far as I'm aware, it's still technically able to be updated is a cloud core router. Purely and simply because, again, there's this whole balancing act between what a router can do versus what something like a fully fledged firewall can do. Or a packet, I suppose it'd be a next generation firewall, is the correct terminology in marketing buzzwords. A firewall technically is a firewall as long as it's inspecting packets. It just depends on how well it's doing. Hold on. Let's dig it down for them. This is an older one. This is a CCR 1009 8G1S1S Plus, which, yeah, it's 10 gig in theory. I mean, in theory, it's got SFP Plus on it. SFP got things. This is the thing. We've got Group 1 there, which I'm guessing they might be switchable. I'm not sure yet. And it says PoE/boot. And now I don't know if that means that you can power it via PoE or if it supplies PoE. And again, this is where Micritic kind of don't help themselves. So we've got everything, including a smart card on the front, USB header, but if I flip this over and go onto the back, round the back there's a micro SD slot as well as 2 power supplies. But the weirdest thing is, this thing, it weighs nothing. It's so light. Do you know if it's normal PoE or passive PoE? Because if it's normal PoE, let's have a laugh. La la la. Yep. It's alive. I say I know most of the time they are. I know. Secure your router. Tap to hide this screen. By the way, this router is on 192.168.88.1, which I believe is the default IP, obviously, for all Micritic devices. No, the problem. I mean, this was running. This has a twin that is still sat on site off. It's on a shelf out the way. I liberated it when I liberated that because I got given them. The issue I've always had dealing with stuff from them is they allow you to do practically everything, but at the same time they make practically everything really, really sort of long-winded to do stuff. It's like, right, yeah, I got to play. The problem is I'm streaming on my machine. I haven't got another machine to. I don't think. Hold on, let me find out what have I got plugged. Let me work out what I've got plugged in where. That runs all around there. You're plugged in there. You're plugged in there. Let's see. So we'll plug you in there. If I lose you, it's because of Jason. I'll blame Jason if I lose you. If my stream stops. The problem is I'm on completely the wrong subnet. Yeah, it means I've got to go download Winbox. And it's just as easy for me. I've got 2 network cards, so it's just as easy for me. You don't know my machines. Two seconds. Hey, I'm okay. I've got multiple. I'm streaming from a server with like 20 things. That means I've got to go and find Winbox. Watch this. No. Not only that, I don't know what version of Router OS this is running. Right. Are we ready? Here we go. So, we are on 634.3. Please enable legacy mode. I'm on it. I'm on it. Right. Let's just expand. Let's make this at least viewable. So I know they've always had the good old quick set and things like that, where I can just set stuff up. Where is the option that I'm after? System. I know you got water upgrade. Let's just plug in a what package version are we on? Now I've got to zoom out. Six, 3, 4.3. Shouldn't be able to do much because it's got no internet access. Or I suppose I best give it access to the internet. Which means I need to set up an internet connection on it, which means I need more cables. Ba, 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 ba. So that one passes the network we're in at the moment. Change it to the. This is the question. As I say, I don't deal with these enough. So that's the interface. No bridges set. No, that's good. IP addresses. So yeah, network, blah blah blah. Ethernet 1. So in theory, that's all correct. That's all fine. Where is it? Right. That's better. Let's see if that works then. There is no... Oh, there it is. Well, it came with version 3. That's interesting. Where was I? What was I doing? Packages. That's what I was after. Check for updates. Oh, no. There we go. Latest version 6.49.7. Well, we might as well download and install it then. Updating. Beep. Booting right now. I don't want to change my password. Right. What's new? Now the question is, should we go for a full upgrade? Because there's no config on here because this has been flattened. So let's see if we can go from 6.49 to 7.8. See what shiny fun things we can do. All the shiny fun things. Again, this is where I could do with the other lab setup ready now, because this is the sort of thing I want to be able to do a speed test on this. Even though this is now an out-of-date model, it's end of life. Just check for any updates. We are all up to date. So we've gained a few things. Got no wireless on here because there's no wireless interfaces. Stretch this out a bit. See stuff. And I mean, the quick set one is, yeah, so we can quite literally create internet on... Oh, that's interesting. So it only gives us internet on Ethernet 1 or SFP 1. Okay. Let be a bridge. Local network. So out of interest then, what level are we at? Does it give us a... Does it give us actually a license level? I can't remember where to check it. It's been that long since I've used it. License, there it is. So, level 6. That's better. So I was just wondering what level we were at. It's alive. Again, there's nothing wrong with Micritic stuff. It's just, for most people, it's overkill. I do find it interesting that I can't actually select SFP plus interfaces. Nothing showing in there. Well, that's fine. We can bridge all LAN ports, DHCP server, NAT it. Right, let's put you in there. And have I got somewhere I do? Yes, I do. Ba, 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 ba. Let's just leave you in there for a minute and lean skillfully up against there like that. So I haven't got a 10 gig switch in my... Oh no, I do actually, but it's not plugged in at the moment. Sorry, I'm just going to play around with this quickly. So if, for example, I change... no, because if I do... Oh no, actually I can go 192.168.100.1 and we'll enable NAT. Don't need any port mappings. Well, do I need to enable NAT or do I just want this to root? You going to pick up an IP? You should do. We'll just see what we get. So it's created us a bridge for which ports? Or is that just bridging between two? Root port Ethernet. So the WAN is our SFP port. The LAN is bridge 1. Interface bridge 1. But is it actually... Obviously it's created a bridge. But it's not actually telling me if there's any members of that bridge at the moment. So I'm assuming it's created that bridge between ports 1 and 8, I would assume. Enlighten me, oh Jason. Where does it tell me what ports are member of that bridge? Or is it just using that bridge as an interface for nothing in particular? Because generally when working with bridges, we end up with there's no VLANs, no VXLANs, nothing bonded. Normally it would give me a who is a member of said bridge, or what ports at least. There we go. Okay, fine. Right. That's what I was after. So yes, it's bridged everything else. We shouldn't have anything else in there. I've got no NAT running. And therefore, in theory, we should be able to take you out, and that should stay alive. He says. So we do have a switch, but the switch ports are there, which leaves 5, 6, 7, 8 as routable ports. Yes, I know. Stop whinging. I'm only playing with it. It's been so long since I played with these. Because I don't even know what the hardware is capable on this thing. I was just trying to work out whether the group was a switch group, which it is. So it means we've got, obviously, the bridged ports between the 4 that are down here and the 4 that are up here. I'm still intrigued as to why it would not let me use. So interfaces, interface list. Okay, so if I switch that to that, let's see if we can break some stuff, because that in theory should then work. Or actually, I should be able to remove that from the bridge. Let's break some stuff, why not? So that, in theory, should be all the Ethernet ports able to be routed over that port there. But again, it's a bit awkward because I'm using the machine I'm doing this off, and I don't want to be throwing stuff through this if I'm going to break it. But it works, and that's all that matters, in all honesty. It works, it's up to date. And it has all the fun and functionality of a standard MikroTik router. I mean, that's the easy thing about it. It can do a lot. That's an interesting theory thing with this, though. If obviously now it's powered by PoE, I mean, it's using 16 watts, which is the upper limit of PoE. So this must be a T. Because if it's pulling 16 watts, it must be able to pull up to 30 watts. I mean, I don't know what these ones were rated for. This is just one I have acquired. So it might well be that actually it's not actually capable of much in terms of throughput because it's quite a low powered unit. So we've got the switch, we've got ports on the switch, that's fine. I'm interested, does it? So it knows that those are hardware off. Okay, inactive hardware offload. So it knows those are switchable ports and it can offload the hardware on those. It knows that those are routed ports. It also, so we've got them again. Let's close all that down. Don't think I've got any of that running. No. Got logs, fun and games, MPLS network building, IPv6, of which no small business should be using, will be using, is ever going to use in the foreseeable. Web proxy settings. Now, what is it actually proxying, or how is it proxying? That would be an interesting one to do a comparison with, if it does work at all. Kid control. Does it got a big stick? So you can set up a profile for your kids. Okay. And then I'm assuming you can assign that to different kids, so you can assign devices, which is fine until the kid learns out how to spoof MAC addresses. And believe me, people find that one out pretty quickly. Anything in testing? No, that's not working. Awesome. So why is that not working now then in theory? Because we should have... Okay. That'll be why, because that needs to go down to there. Apply you. So 7.9 is the current development. What's no? 7.8 is the current stable. 7.9 RC2. Is there anything fun in games going on? Are they bringing anything new in? We've got release notes. Change logs. What's coming in 7.9 then? Just fixes. Much of a muchness. Just some changes. Nothing major. Can't remember what the different versions are. Obviously, we're licensed up to version 6, which means we've got a controller. So we're unlimited on everything. Means we get hotspot active users. Unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. Well, that's fine. Don't need to worry about because it's a clean run anyway. But there we go. I will have a play over time with this. Again, I'll add it into my comparison, but still, it's not quite as easy as setting up an edge router. But I know, obviously, it can do a lot more than an edge router, but then most people don't need it to do as much as an edge router. That's one of the weird things. It's a very powerful piece of kit. But at the same time, it's probably overpowered for most people. That's the issue. What does the traffic monitor do? Let's monitor you. You get a trigger. Traffic transmitted above, below, always. All of that. There will be traffic. Packet sniffer. We've got profile. SMS. Trace route. Traffic generator. Wake on LAN. LEDs, history, health, discs, console, clock, certificates, auto upgrade. Don't need that on at the moment. BGP, filters, GMP, OGMP, next types, OSPF. Some fun and games with BGP, but I'm not in the mood for setting up at the moment. Get some OSPF up and running. What was the other one? It supports VRRP, doesn't it? Interfaces, where is it? Yeah. So, again, lots to play with, lots that can be tweaked with, lots going on. But at the same time, using a sledgehammer to crack a walnut for a lot of cases. Often is the case, I think, with certain bits of hardware anyway. I did chuckle that I saw someone trying to justify some crazy Cisco product just for monitoring why the internet had gone down. Yeah, that was an interesting sort of leap. But I shall add this one to the pile of routers to go in for testing. Sadly, I still have not found a nice old 10100 D-Link. As soon as I find one, I will add it to the pile for testing. And we'll go from there. Where are we? Right. I didn't actually look at what the actual specs were for this device. Let's have a quick look a minute. Because it'd be interesting to know, as it's not new. It's router, current routers, because I know there's a newer version of it out, because it's the, so there's the CCR, it's now classed as archived, I believe. It's that 8 gig 1S plus 8G, so it's a 1009. It's that one. So what is its rated bridging? Okay, so we've got packets per second and throughput. So it should be capable of, yeah, so we've got 11,000 megabits per second. And drops below that with 25 IP filter rules. So that's something, again, it's quite used to see what levels they're testing at, because obviously I suppose something that will need to consider is testing with, I suppose, with the with firewall rules and without. I mean, that would be the thing. I don't know if you've managed the Protectly boxes you've got, Jason. They're all 2.5 gig now, aren't they? I think they are an interesting sort of conundrum just because of where they're targeted at. Just trying to see if there's anything else. So SFP Plus comes with 2 gig of RAM, blah, 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 blah. Supports SFP, so, okay, so you can have this as a dual SFP if needed. And what have I got? Let's, while we're here, let's plug in you. You'll fire up, I don't know if you will. If you need passive, I think you need passive. Yeah. Let me find a PoE adapter for that one a second. There we go. Engage passive PoE. I haven't fired this little. This is the little baby router board one now. This is a hex, I think. No, it's a hex light because it's only 10100. And I can't remember what state it's in. And I can't even remember if it's actually updated or not. Let me find a pokey thing and restart the thing, or reset it in a minute. Yeah, you're pokeable. Let me poke this. And we'll see if we can get any life out of it. Okay. Just in case, let's plug one in that end. It doesn't like me. Going for that one, maybe? Nope. We'll go with a full power down and reboot on that one then. I might have a dead Micritic, but unless there is a specific PoE in, passive PoE voltage 6 to 30 volts. Well, it's getting somewhere between 6 and 30 volts. I can safely say that. It's not to say that the PoE adapter is not dead. Try another one. That wouldn't have worked. That might be why. Let's just double check something a minute. You in there, and you in there. There a second. Way. And we'll see if this one boots. There it is. Did I? Oh, I did. It's alive. And again, are they all bridged? Or is it just 4 ports? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We've got the interfaces set. I do. Ethernet 1. That's fine. Let's just have a quick. Yeah, that's all set. So in theory, I can get that one updated as well, ready, even though the most this is going to do is 100 meg, because it's only a 100 meg capable unit. Ooh, excuse me. And we'll wait for it to boot back up. I mean, somewhere, he says, somewhere. Let's just flick over to there. I do have these, and I can't tell whether they shape them like that for fun or just for, I don't know, it's like whether they looked at a marshmallow or something, or but these were bought for a project ages ago and I never used them. Yeah, he's still here. I'm just digging out some of the Mikrotik gear that I've got and updating it. As it keeps you entertained, but yeah, this was the better than comparable to the Ubiquiti Air Max Bullet. Honestly, I don't know. Because the project that I was going to use them for didn't materialize in the end. And I flogged a load of them off. I don't know how many I've got left. I think this is the only one I've got left. I had a couple of them. But these were a bit weird because these are 5 gigahertz or 2.5 because it's only a 1x1 transmitter. And again, obviously, being UK based, there's only so much power we can do it. And it was weird. These came with, show you on there, so they came with the 2 gigahertz, 2.4 gig antenna on it. Yet, by the time sort of I purchased these, 2.4 was pretty much junk externally anyway. Right. So I don't need to do anything more on that. That one's up to date. Wait, it's quite the size difference. But they beep away. And the other thing, obviously, is these being the fact that they are passive PoE powered as well. Beep beep. but they do sort of, well, they work. Well, they worked, but I didn't really use them for too much. And I haven't actually had them, well, I'm trying to think. I think I sold a lot of them just because I wasn't using them. They are a, what are we on, 648? Might as well just get it up to date while I've got it. I can't remember whether these were switch or, I think these were router board based. But obviously quite a low license on them because they're an AP. And in turn, they were an idea at the time. Right. Upgrade you. Get that upgrading. I mean, it's kind of like anything wireless wise. I mean, this I could probably get quite a good range out of if I put the right antenna array on the top of it. But is it worth it nowadays when I can just grab a basic external AP and plug that in? And or I mean, I've got nano stations, and they are. That's the other thing as well. If you want to use these for like point to points or point to multi points, it's just as easy to use Ubiquiti kit. In fact, it's easier because it's a lot simpler in setting up and managing it. Right, license. So this was a level 4. Which, yeah, WISP. So it was one of those ideas. Oh, it's N only as well. It's not even AC. So, yeah. Again, it's just another thing that it's one of those wonderful devices that's ended up sat on the shelf not doing anything. Regulatory domain. Where's that set in these? It's always the funny thing. It's like maximum power. Installation. There we go. I wonder if it actually demonstrates. So if I went United Kingdom, that's frequency mode, country, antenna gain. That's fine. It actually got channel mode. No, it doesn't actually have a. There we go. So I want advanced mode. So it gives you the power to do, well, all sorts. Alignment only. So they were a good idea, but again, not the simplest way to set things up. And their own proprietary protocols if needed. Endstream is effectively their equivalent to AirMax. So there you go, all up to date. That'll do. Don't need to worry about that. Let's do a scan and see what's in the area. I should see all my... See if we get anything come up. Huh. Well, that was quite disappointing. Have we got anything? Let's go back into there again. Yes. See if I can get it to do a proper wireless scan. Or not. Oh, we can get a noise floor level, which is quite useful. But interestingly, it's not picking anything up. And now I do know there is some stuff floating around on channels, but... that would require... What are we scanning? So 5500 up to 5700. No. Oh, well. Might not be a lot used on there. Anyway. That is all my Metacritic stuff updated. Quite a painless process, but it works. Anyway, that I think will do for now. If I find anything more, Jason, on that UEFI stuff, I'll message you. As I say, there was some questions asked on it. I haven't tried recently, and with what's going on with the XGS series, there is potential that they may do something different. I'm still trying to sort of build up a bit of a list of who is obviously I know Tom Lawrence put out a list the other day of the comparable UTM stuff, but yeah, being able to find actual usable software that's free, the list is growing shorter, especially since obviously Untangled got bought. Find you. See, I've still got to test my 106. I need a week off. That's what I need. I could do a week-long live stream of testing Sophoses. I'm slowly collecting them all. I don't know where mine's gone. It's somewhere. Where is my 135? The 136. I've got that many that I've lost it. I've put my 136 down somewhere and I don't know where. There it is. Is this a V3? Hold on, let me have a look. Yeah, you want that. So 135 Rev 3. I'll get that one reloaded up and do some speed testing on it as well. The interesting part will always be with these is finding something that can go in there, because unfortunately, as it stands, in fact, I don't know actually. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look, because that should still be a Caswell built unit. Caswell. Let's just flick over, because as far as I know, that's a desktop appliance, but it's working out which one it's based on, because it's a fanless desktop appliance. So we've got and I'm pretty sure that one might have a fan in it actually. I've got my power supply. There it is over there. Right. Let's have a look. Yeah, so they're Atom C based. If there's an older version. But what I want to find out if there's any other modules, because it'd be interesting to know. It'd be nice if... Oh, yeah, this is the problem. Their web page is a bit broken. Their web page is very broken. Okay. Because they've got these. I know these are, I think, the same style. That's the modules for the bigger units. Yeah. That's too big. That fits in. That's a quad sim unit that will fit in one of the 200 series up. Don't know. Maybe they used a different manufacturer for these. Because the only other ones I've seen are these, but they're Portwells, maybe. I know. While I'm it, let's whip the back off and see if there's a manufacturer on it. What do I want? I want to take off. I'll remember, I think it's you. And you. Let's bring you over here a minute. Let's bring everyone in. Can't remember, it's been a while since I popped the lid off this one, so we'll just unscrew everything. Assuming we'll take you off as well. find out. I've got to do the side ones, possibly. I can never remember what screws it is exactly that have got to come out for this one, but for the sake of it, they can all come out. I can't remember if this comes apart in 2 pieces or... Yeah, that's it. So, let us see. Do we have a maker? So, that's the SSD. So, DNB 11660-S version C. So, that's that. Everything glued in place, and we've got a little mini PCI. So let's have a look, see if we can find out who made that. DNB 1160-S. Nexcom. There we go. Bet it's you. Yep. Well, this is a DNB 1160, which matches what is written on here. It's just useful sometimes finding. So if I switch, can I get a rear view? There's a rear view. So similar. It's a DNA. So they are manufactured by Nexcom. And is that the same module? Yeah. So that's a DNA, and this is a DNB. But interestingly, it's the same mainboard. So DNB 1160. And it's got a mini PCIe slot for, yeah, which is that one. And mini PCIe slot, which is that one, for the 4G module. Which is a shame, because it'd be nice if they did some other modules. See what else we come up with. So it's made by potentially Nexcom. Yeah, this is it. There's a... So that looks like the main board. One. Nexcom Japan. Let's have a look. It's the same one. So it is all manufactured by Nexcom. Oh, It's in Japanese. So it's a derivative of that. No, that's a bit bigger. System on chip based. No, so it's X. So it. Yeah. That's a shame. It is only a gigabit throughput, but obviously, yeah, this one has a slightly larger CPU than maybe the. I wonder what the difference. I haven't had a 125 to play with in my hands, so yeah, it's manufactured by Nexcom. I suppose it's got it written on it anywhere. No. Bust. And even though this is an XG, it's still badged up as an SG internally, which is the thing. It's just they changed the yeah, they just stuck XG on the front instead. So the actual label on the board. I'll zoom in on it. So see if it will focus. There you go. So this is actually, or this was destined to be an SG. But it's, there's the model number, DNB 1160-S version C. I mean, obviously, it's going to be on. It's going to be a. Let's let it focus out a bit. It's going to be soldered on CPU. Come on, focus, focus, camera. Here, we're moving around here. I was hoping, maybe, just maybe, that there was another module that could have been slotted into that, but that's purely and simply for the 4G module. The Wi-Fi module obviously would go there normally, and corresponding antennas, but you can't use the Wi-Fi module with the home version, so it's kind of pointless on that. But there we go. Right, we flip over to that. But it's useful sometimes to know who makes them. Like, as I say, the Big Brother versions, the 200s and the 300, they're Caswell built. Get you up. And accordingly, you can buy the actual modules for them pretty cheap. This, on the other hand, seems to be a unless I can find. Let's have a look. Unless we can find them. Let's have a quick look around. Mobile network. Edge SD-WAN appliance. No. There's the pDNA. What's that? No, that's got more in it. It's got, that's a different product. Yeah, DNB. So obviously they do a derivative of it. And I don't know, I'm guessing the dash S is Sophos. So it's a slight derivative of a DNA 116, but it's the Sophos derivative. I mean, I can even find... There's a mainboard for one. That's a DNA mainboard, and it's similar. There you go, DN. Yeah. So I would say the dash S is for dash Sophos, so it must be that they're using the same manufacturer, but there is a derivative of. I mean, the board layout is vastly different. Vastly different. It's obviously the same basic architectural layout, but they've opted to so they've moved that port down to here. The chipsets for driving that seem to be in a different place. All this is over here. It's weird. They've yeah, they've changed. No, nothing there. It's quite an interesting variation that they've made. Sophos have made them do. Can I upgrade the RAM on an SG125? No, you cannot, but then you don't really need to. And saying that, if you upgrade the RAM, you have to mess around unsticking the RAM. So, bit difficult. Anyway, right, I am going to wind it up, as I've whinged upon and nagged on way too long. Thank you all for joining me for this meandering waffle session. I'm going to put this Sophos back together again, and I might get it loaded up and taunt Jason with it some more. But it's also getting a bit warm up here because the trapdoor's shut, so there's no airflow. But there we go. Right, I will catch up with you all maybe next weekend. We'll see how busy work is. And hopefully there might be some more fun things to talk about. Depending on if I pull my finger out my arse, so to speak, and get that area fixed and sorted, as it is a public holiday tomorrow, so I might have some time to spend up here. But until next time, I will catch up with you all laters, and enjoy, if you're in the UK, enjoy a bank holiday tomorrow. And if you're not in the UK, I feel sorry for you, but you get public holidays on other days. So I will catch up with you guys later. And